Live ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈ ದಿನದ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಸಸ್ಯ ಆಧಾರಿತ ಪೋಷಣೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ವಿಚಾರ ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಆದರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಈ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ. I welcome all of you to please listen in on our today's topic, whole plant-based nutrition for holistic living. ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ. We hear of people dying here in hospice who suffer for months, years, incubated, ventilated, and very much medicated. These can be your friends or relatives. Very hard to live with this. We would all prefer an end of life that doesn't involve all the suffering and pain. Thinking about this, for all of us Hindus, we grew up with the Vedic prayer that comes to my mind. Trayambakam yajamahe, sugandhim pushtivardhanam, urvarukamiva bandhanan, mrityor mukshiya mamrita. We worship Lord Shiva, who is the master of our senses and who sustains all the growth. May he release us from the bondage of the death as a ripened cucumber is released from its stalk. Our focus here today is on the second part of the shloka. This prayer connects us to the thinking that a very clean exit from the stalk of life is possible if we follow a cruel-free, chemical-free, process-free diet of foods to nourish our body, mind, and soul. Our today's guest speaker, Srimati Shobha Ishwar, is going to take us through this topic. She's going to share her journey, ideas, belief, and success in propagating this. Deepa?
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be introducing our speaker, Shobha Swamy. Shobha Swamy is very passionate about health and wellness. After 25 years in the automotive engineering field, she discovered her passion to regain vibrant health through food choices and has since changed her career. She is now certified in plant-based nutrition from the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies, Cornell University. She is also a certified food for life instructor through the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. She has worked as a plant-based cooking instructor for Dr. Jennifer Root, 12-week lifestyle intervention classes at Morehouse School of Medicine. She actively promotes switching to minimally processed, nutritionally dense, plant-based diets. Shobha takes a holistic approach to nutrition, well-being, and promoting permanent lifestyle changes in individuals and organizations to build stronger, healthier communities. She advocates for taking our health into our own hands through this simple and easily accessible way of eating to prevent and reverse chronic disease instead of resigning ourselves to hereditary factors. Shobha also has Serve-Safe certification for food preparation. Along with this, she is also a yoga and meditation instructor and approaches and conducts yoga and meditation classes. Over to you, Shobha.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deepa. Thank you, Chandrika. Namaskara ellarigu. And it is a huge pleasure and an honor to be here on the eve of Earth Day as well. Thank you, Chandrika, for a wonderful introduction and start to this topic today. Like you mentioned, the prayer to Lord Shiva, and that sustains and preserves everything in our world. We also say a prayer to Bhumi Devi on Earth Day. So today we will be talking a little bit about Earth Day, how our food impacts our Bhumi, our Earth, that we need to so care for and nurture, as well as nutrition that nourishes our body as well. So just like we are taking care of our bodies, we should be taking care of Mother Earth as well. So Deepa, if you can let me share my screen, I'll begin with a short presentation for about 15-20 minutes, after which Chandrika and I, we will resort to a question and answer session,
Sure.
right? Thank you so much. Yes, let's get started. Yes, share screen, and here we go. Okay, wonderful. So today we're going to start with the power of plants. So just like Mother Nature nourishes our bodies, we have to discover what is the true nature of our bodies and what's the best kind of fuel for our bodies. So like I was introduced, I'm Shobha Swamy, and we already know I have a certification in plant-based nutrition as well as a Food for Life instructor to spread this awareness in the community. So building strong, vibrant communities that are active, participating, and giving back to our communities. That's the motto. So none of the talk that we have today should be construed as medical advice. Please consult your PCP or medical doctor for anything that relates to any form of medical advice or your medications that you need to take. But please be forewarned that if you follow this way of living, life, and eating, you may have to go back to your doctor to reduce your medication. So please keep that in mind so that's a disclaimer that you may have to resort to things like that. So we hear every day in our lives, people, doctors tell us, teachers tell us, get your plate in shape, eat right. So we tell our children as well, at home, eat right. So today we're going to meander through the vast knowledge of information about nutrition, out of which what is rightful eating. All of us truly believe from our heart that our hard-earned money we take to the grocery store and we buy really good, healthy food. But is it really healthy? We will find out here today. So the more we fill up on healthy food, the less space you'll have for unhealthy food. This is a common paradigm that all of us know and all of us share and share with each other. But when we check out at the grocery store, we have a lot of information coming at us through all those magazines stacked up at the grocery store. Some tell us, oh, look at all these top meatless sources of protein. But look at this. Beans has protein. Did you know that cauliflower has protein? So also broccoli, so also spinach. And of course, nuts and seeds, we all knew had lots of protein. So we can see here that beans have way more per serving protein than even eggs. Okay. So what should our take-home message be? Choose foods that are ingredients, where you don't have to read a long list of ingredients that we can't even pronounce. It should not be full of ingredients. For example, these kind of lentils, beans, rice, vegetables, we already know what they are. Broccoli is not labeled as broccoli. We already know it's broccoli, carrots, potatoes, everything. So what is our infatuation with this protein? Are we getting enough protein? Where are you getting your protein from? Is the most common question asked. So I hope you're eating high protein foods. Today I had a consultation where a mother was asking, how do I provide more protein for my child? But please bear in mind that protein deficiency doesn't exist in the world at all. There has been no known case of protein deficiency other than, right, alongside malnutrition, in which case there are many other deficiencies as well, not just protein deficiency. So please understand that we are getting enough protein, that we shouldn't be really focusing on our protein, but instead we should be focusing on how much fruits and vegetables we are eating, that is fiber. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Then we hear a lot about low carb, high protein recipes, diets. Oh, I've stopped eating rice. I'm feeling so much better and I've lost so much weight. Is that really true? We'll take a look at it today. The cover of Time magazine not too long ago said, eat butter. Scientists had told us that they were wrong. Fat was the enemy, but they were so wrong. Now you can eat butter. So they change their views every so often. So if you give people nutritional advice, they always think, oh, today you're going to be telling this, tomorrow everything's going to change. But that's really not true, though it has been proven, like these popular magazines and popular rhetoric on all our social media messages. indicates that, but it's really not true. In 1984, they came and told us cholesterol is bad news. Don't have eggs, don't have bacon, which is probably true and good for our heart. But then 15 years fast forward, they come and tell us cholesterol, the good news. No wonder we are so confused about our food. Okay. So as we were preparing for today's session, we were talking about how we are the only species that is so confused about our food. No other species on earth. Elephants know what they should be eating. Camels know what they should be eating. Zebras know what they should be eating. Lions know very well what they should be eating. Cows too know what they should be eating. But we shouldn't divert their attention to eating other things. That is the human species goal, is to leave nature and animals to eating what they are normally used to eating. So low carb, should we be eating bread? If I eat a sandwich for lunch today, will that be okay? Is that going to cause a problem in my body? Is that healthy? Is it good? These are all the questions that come up. Now let's take a look at health and fitness. So this is all the confusion we have around the foods that we eat, and we'll resolve all of that in a few minutes, in a few slides. But before we go on further, I want to draw a distinct difference between health and fitness. Why so? Because for health, food or nutrition is the only way. That is the fuel for our bodies. Human bodies require a certain kind of fuel, just like all cars require a specific kind of fuel. Diesel cars cannot take in gasoline fuel, and the gasoline cars cannot take in diesel fuel. Similar way, human bodies take in fuel in a certain form, and that is called food or nutrition that nourishes our body, makes us vibrant and strong and active, productive adults. But for fitness, agility, balance, there's exercise, there's yogasana, there's all these other things for fitness. But for health, it's only food and nutrition. Like you can see, we need exercise for fitness, for strength, for agility, for balance, for endurance, flexibility, as well as bone strength. But for health and vibrancy in life, we need quality. If we need quality of life and better aging and longevity in terms of living strong and vibrant lives through our senior years, then we need to be free of diseases, free of pain, free of suffering, like Chandrika mentioned, and to also lower our stress levels, so that we can incorporate a little bit of pranayama, meditation, things like that, and that gives us a holistic approach. So let's take a look at genetics. Many of us tell us health professionals that, oh, my mother had it, that's why we're having. I just heard that South Asians are so prone to diabetes and heart disease. I am a South Asian, so I have it. So is this really true? Are we a product of our genetics? And what is the percentage, if so, that's the contributing factor towards our genetics, towards us getting diabetes? What is the contributing factor through genetics? Let's take a look at it. So genetics control what diseases we develop? That's really not true at all. Can you believe that? Diet and lifestyle are the primary determinants of disease, not so much our genetic factors. You will be surprised to note that 80 to 85% is the food. And how much is for genetics? Very small portion. Genes are responsible for only 2 to 3% of health concerns, whereas the 15 to 20% is hereditary factors, environmental factors, physical health and exercise, mental health, stress, all other factors combined. So you can see that there is a huge emphasis on the food. So today we're going to cover most of it is going to be about food. So with this regards, many of us who have diabetes think that sugar is a contributor to diabetes. And if I stop eating sugar, my diabetes is going to get better. I'm going to be better able to manage it. Is that really true? It's really not true, because it's the fat that's the cause of diabetes. Excess fat that's stored in the cells, making our cells more insulin resistant. Sometimes we carry our fat visibly, and sometimes we carry these fat cells inside, and it's also called visceral fat that is surrounding our organs and is in every cell of our bodies internally. Okay, and fat is more calorie dense and contributes to weight gain, and it's a leading risk factor for diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So what about rice? Many people have stopped eating rice. You can see that rice, bread basket for rice has been all over Asia, all the way from Japan to Singapore, rice eating populations. If rice was a true contributor to diabetes, then everyone from Japan to Singapore should be having diabetes, but that's not true. Rice is not the cause of type 2 diabetes, and all carbs cannot be clubbed into the same bucket. Complex carbohydrates such as rice and brown rice are essential for our brain and body function. And no rice eating country like Japan, Korea, China, Taiwan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore had alarming rates of type 2 diabetes prior to 1990. What happened after 1990? Can you guess? It's the fast food industry. Fast food industry made its inroads into all parts of Asia, including India, Japan, China, promoting their fast foods, enticing children and teens and young adults to eat this way. And this has caused a huge epidemic and change in the kind of diseases that develop. What are we eating? We are eating all these kinds of food. The top row is perfectly, is something that we eat on a normal basis, and we all think it's perfectly good breakfast, like eggs and toast or a glass of milk, orange juice, or we tell our kids, oh, before you head out the door, at least drink a glass of milk or eat a bowl of cereal. So that's what it is. Or sometimes an egg McMuffin, or sometimes an egg and sausage muffin, depending on how we eat. Same with donuts and all the fried foods and fries and leftover pizza and Coke and all of these things. We all know some of these things are not so healthy. So is our food slowly making us sick and causing diseases? This is something that you have to think for yourself. So these are some of the fast foods that are very prevalent. Kids will grab a muffin before they go to school. Is that a healthy thing? Of course, for lunch, sometimes they may eat fries, they may eat a burger, they may eat chips, they may eat waffles, so many different things that they eat for lunch. And what about the Indian snacks and the Indian foods that we so love? We won't just eat idli, chutney, and sambar. We'll want this vada as side of it, which is crispy, crunchy, deep fried, and absorbs so much oil. Is that good for us? Can we really out-exercise our food? Are these the foods that we so love? And even if we don't consume them on a daily basis, most often during the weekends and other times when we get together with friends and family, we consume this kind of food, right? And it's become more easy to buy packaged food such as these, ready-made in the grocery store. Before, we had to make our own chakli, our own kodbade, our own nippattu. So it would take us so much more effort, energy, and you wouldn't be making it every week. You wouldn't be making it every month. But now, you just have to buy a packaged chakli or kodbade, and just all you need to do is run scissors through it. And you'll have a whole plate of tate of kodbade or chakli ready to go, right? So that ease of convenience of buying these foods at the grocery store has caused a deterrent in our disease outcomes. Has really marked the disease outcomes that we are succumbing to, right? So the standard American diet may not look very familiar to us if we are not meat eaters, but we eat pizza. We eat different forms of same kind of, we may be eating a veggie burger, we may be eating this or that. Definitely, though, a veggie burger will be definitely more healthier than any kind of meat. Onion rings, fries, so many of these things, the croissants that we eat at the grocery store and buy, though they may be vegetarian. So again, looking at all these foods that are become our favorite foods, what can we do? And today we're going to look at how food impacts the environment, considering it's Earth Day tomorrow. How does it impact our health, our own health? We saw some of the foods that we're eating. How does it impact the animals that we so cherish and love and are part of the ecosystem of Mother Earth? Are we taking due care of these animals, the cows that provide us milk, the sheep, the goat, and all these other animals? What about the environment? What is the impact of our food on the environment as a whole? These are some of the things that, has a huge impact. So how does this food production, from where food is produced, from the farms to our table, how does it affect the entire environment? Our animal-based foods that we consume, whether it be dairy or eggs or any of these other foods, fish or any of these other foods and meats, versus plant-based foods. We'll take a look at this and see what are the natural resources we are using up. We're using a ton of water. One pound of hamburger takes up more water than 1 day shower. Imagine that. Okay. What about food? Animals consume so much more food that we have to produce more and more food for us to sustain and eat the animal-based products that we're eating. So also land, rainforests are getting cut down. The oceans are being depleted of, sea life. So these are all something that we need to keep our impact. We need to keep our mind focused on these as we consume our food. Moving on, let's look at the current state of health. Like Chandrika was mentioning, so many chronic diseases, they are on the rise. Younger and younger populations are getting chronic diseases. Chandrika and Gopal have friends, and so also us. Young people, people in their 30s, 35-year-old, 38-year-old, 41-year-old who've had a heart attack. So let's take a look at what are chronic diseases. What are these diseases? Chronic diseases are lifestyle diseases. Why are they called lifestyle diseases? Because they're a product of our lifestyle, and they're long-term diseases. For example, if you have blood pressure, if you have diabetes in your 30s or 40s, you take that along with you into the 70s, into the 60s, 30, 40 years, long-term diseases that are largely preventable, that you didn't know till today, that it's preventable. Diabetes is 100% preventable. Heart disease is 98% preventable. You've never heard this before, right? And it's reversible. Preventable for those of us who not had the disease so far, and reversible for those of us who already have this disease, okay? So heart disease is the #1 leading cause of death in the United States, killing 850 people in the United States and worldwide. So also cancer, 500,000 people die of cancer every single year in worldwide, in US alone. Diabetes is a close third. Obesity, very high correlation between obesity and diabetes, very high correlation between obesity and cancer, very high correlation between obesity and heart disease. Stroke and heart disease are two sides of the same coin. We'll see that in just a bit. Alzheimer's disease. Now doctors are telling us that Alzheimer's disease and the kind of diseases that we're getting with regards to our dementia and Alzheimer's directly connected to vascular dementia. Please understand this is blockage of the blood vessels, and we'll talk about it more when we get to heart disease. Respiratory diseases, kidney diseases are on the rise. Chronic kidney disease, CKD, is on the rise. Dialysis centers are increasingly mushrooming up all across the United States and other parts of the world too. So as you know already now, #1 killer is cardiovascular disease. And if you cover the word cardio, what are you left with? Vascular disease. So it's a disease of the blood vessels, vascular. What kind of blood vessels? Only of the heart? No, blood vessels from head to toe. The most leading cause of lower back pain in the United States is due to blocked blood vessels in the lower back. And how many people die of cardiovascular disease? So if myself, Chandrika and Deepa are sitting at the table and eating food, one of us is going to succumb to heart attack or cardiovascular disease. This is the grim statistics. This is not something that we have made up. This is what's put out by CDC. So moving on, what are the two types? When the blood vessels that lead to the heart get clogged or blocked up, it ends up in what is called a heart attack. When the blood vessels that leads to the brain gets clogged up, it ends up in what is called a stroke. Two sides of the same coin, and the root cause of this illness is the same thing, blockage of the blood vessels. When we take that material that blocks the blood vessels, that for example is called a plaque, and you look at it under a microscope, we can tell you exactly what you have been eating and what are the kinds of food that has contributed to this blockage. Okay. So this is how we are born, with squeaky clean blood vessels when we are babies, to the leftmost side of the picture. And as we progress through life, 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, slowly, these plaque sets in, white streaks or atherosclerosis or atherosclerotic plaque sets in, and slowly and surely this starts getting blocked up, ending up in a heart attack or stroke. And younger populations are succumbing to this, chronic lifestyle disease. And doctors in the US are telling us that young children as young as 10 years old show beginning signs of white streaks in their arteries. Okay, moving on. The number 2 killer is cancer. 1 in 4 people dies of cancer in the United States every single year. And what does the American Cancer Institute of Cancer Research tell us? That we should base our diets on plant-based foods like vegetables, fruits, whole grains and legumes such as beans, which are rich in fiber and other nutrients, so as to reduce our risk of cancer. For good health, the American Institute of Cancer Research recommends that we base all our meals on plant-based foods as much as we can. So reducing our risk of cancer by avoiding all animal products, including dairy and eggs, because dairy and eggs are animal products as well. Diabetes is on the rise in the United States, and 29.1 million people have diabetes, and that's 1 out of every 11 people. And statistics from CDC tell us that 1 out of 4 people don't know that they have diabetes. Okay, and what are the complications from diabetes? Gradually increasing blood sugar levels, higher doses of medication, heart disease, loss of energy, neuropathy, loss of eyesight, glaucoma, kidney failure, many complications. I lost my grandmother at the age of 56 or 57 to diabetes. She lost her eyesight, had neuropathy, and so many other complications due to diabetes. So can we reverse diabetes? Like I mentioned before, yes, it's possible. Reversing diabetes without drugs is a possibility. Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine promotes it, and many other plant-based doctors, so also myself, Chandrika, Gopal, and all of us. So the chronic diseases in the US are largely preventable and reversible, those in India as well. And why should we adopt this way of eating? If plant-based nutrition is a way to keep us away, keep our diseases at bay, what are the benefits of this plant-based nutrition? Because you can get to healthy weight. As you notice, over the years, we slowly start putting on weight, 1 or 2 pounds a year. It's not too much, but in 10 years, it's 20 pounds. In 20 years, it's 40 pounds. Now you're 40 pounds overweight. So this is what the stack up takes place very ever so slowly that you'll never see it coming. Improved cholesterol levels, lowering our blood pressure, lowering our blood sugar, making our heart more healthy, eating more heart-healthy foods. So the medical paradigm, the current paradigm is on drugs and tests and procedures, but we are moving towards a future paradigm of whole foods, high in fiber, plant-based, and minimally processed. So a rule of thumb is consume foods that are made by Bhagavan rather than made by man in a factory or a processed facility. Education more than medication, and address the root cause of the problems, not just the symptoms. Let food be our medicine. Benefits of a whole food plant-based diet are many. It lowers the blood sugar level, improves kidney function, reduces the risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, dementia, and certain forms of cancer, which no other pill can do. Okay, improved symptoms from chronic illnesses such as gout, rheumatoid arthritis, IBS, multiple sclerosis, so many others. So isn't it too extreme to be plant-based? What do you mean that I shouldn't be consuming animal products? What's wrong with eggs? It gives good protein. It's an easy breakfast to have. I can just eat 1 egg as I go out the door or drink a glass of milk. Why is that a bad thing? When you take a look at it, a plant-based diet improves all of these things all at the same time, something no pill can do or a combination of pills can do. So we don't want to be extreme. We want everything in moderation. These people who are following these kind of things, ever so extreme, they're all going to come back. That's what people say. Let's take a look. Is it really extreme? What does Dr. Esselstyn tell us? Some people think that plant-based diet is very extreme. But 500,000 people a year, 500,000 people, think about it, will have their chest opened up, a vein taken out of their chest and sewn onto their coronary artery. Some people will call this kind of a surgery extreme. Okay, so look at this picture. Which one is more extreme? Going under the scalpel, being scared, and be getting opened up, or eating this kind of food? Does this look appetizing? Does this look colorful? Does this look like we are depriving ourselves of eating something or the other? Look at all the fun foods we make out of all these basic ingredients. Just enticing, desserts, sweets, even the fried foods we have replacement for. So what kind of foods can we eat? That's what comes to mind, right? Whole foods, plant-based, minimally processed. Like I just mentioned to you, fruit is nature's candy. Have tons of it. Have grapes, have strawberries, have blueberries. If you notice, babies and children, they're naturally attracted to colorful fruits and vegetables. Vegetables, eat all the colors of the rainbow, every single. Eat the vegetables that you haven't tasted or bought in the grocery store in a long while. Try out new things. Have lots of salads. Beans, lentils, we in the Indian way of cooking know best how to make them tasty, delicious, and enticing. Cook them often, make them often, which we all already do. How about grains, whole grains? Slowly move from white rice to brown rice, but white rice is equally, good for health. Whole grain bread, whole grain pasta, eat corn, eat oats, eat millets. So many different grains. Enjoy and celebrate these grains. Eat lots of vegetables and fruits, like I mentioned. And this is how our food pyramid should look like. The base of the pyramid should be fruits and vegetables. Then you'll have whole grains, and then legumes and leafy vegetables, as well as whole fat, small amount of nuts and seeds and avocados. So your family favorites, all the foods that are your favorite, we still consume. We just make it a little differently with healthier ingredients, not so processed. Try not to buy processed packaged food from the grocery store. Look at all this really enticing, delicious food. Does your mouth water when you see this? Look at this. Rava idli, all our thali meals. Even pizza you can have. You can have kurma. You can have, you can make carrot halwa, beetroot halwa. All kinds of halwas you can make. So enjoy the food. Make it tasty, but load it up with vegetables. That's the goal, right? Lasagna, tacos, burgers, skewers of vegetable. Look how colorful they look. Which child would, not want to eat something as colorful as this? Our paisas, our laddus, everything is a possibility. Lasagna, okay? Does this look like deprivation? I don't think so, right? What about eating out, you ask me, right? You can eat pasta, you can eat pizza, you can eat bread, you can eat black bean burgers. So many different choices that we are exercising every single day. You can eat all different cuisines, from Italian to Indian to Thai to Mexican, Chinese, everything. So, but make sure they're made healthy and not, deep fried and processed foods. So our overall health and risk of chronic diseases are inextricably linked to the dietary practice, our food, and there's a very strong nutrition linkage to chronic degenerative illnesses. In conclusion, eat whole foods, eat plant-based, try to avoid deep fried foods. These are some of the leading doctors in the plant-based nutrition field. That just a few I've, fit in here in one sheet, but there are tons of them. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. John McDougall, Dr. Neil Barnard, and Dr. Esselstyn. We stand on the shoulders of these doctors who've done medical research, who have data to prove all of this. These are some of the books that they have written. And then there are leading plant-based doctors in India as well. Some of these people I'm very closely connected with, Dr. Achyutan Ishwar, Dr. Vidya Chakravarti, who's an Ayurvedic whole food plant-based doctor in Bangalore, Dr. Nandita Shah, Dr. Bibal Chajar. All of these people are making a huge difference. And right here in Atlanta, where I'm based, we have many plant-based doctors who actively promote plant-based nutrition to their patients. And we salute these doctors and we, honor them today in terms of the work that they're doing. So my organization is called Annapurna, and we have whole food plant-based community gatherings on a monthly basis. This month, with this coming Sunday for the month of April, we have a community gathering in downtown Atlanta at a park where we enjoy this food, meet people, build communities. Our goal is to build communities. Share widely, and then we build active, vibrant communities, plant-based communities. This is my details. We can share that as well again in the notes, in the talk notes or chat notes, or after the event even. But we'll move on now to answer some of your questions. I'll do a stop share on this presentation. Hope you've got enough information now to be confident that this is doctor approved and medically approved with studies to back us up, evidence based, nutrition based. So yes, take it away, Chandu. If you have questions, we can.
Amazing, Shobha. Thank you so much for this eye-opening, enlightening education on whole plant-based food with a holistic nutritional insight. We have just a few questions listed. We'll try and go through it as best as we can. What would you think about importance of composting and how does that fit into this equation?
Wonderful, wonderful topic you brought up, especially for Earth Day. And
Yes.
if we do want to save the earth and reduce our landfill,
Right.
definitely composting. I started this about 5 years ago, and it's made a huge difference. I have 13-gallon bag of trash per month, sometimes 2 months. Once in 2 months, I have a bag of trash. That's it.
Right.
So all the peels, all the waste from our fruits and vegetables that are cut off, like the seeds and the stems and all that, you can buy a small composter for your backyard, or before you buy it, you can assign a small area of your backyard and just dump it there as well. Bhagavan and Mother Nature will take care of composting. You don't have to put in too much effort. But then there are lots of rules for composting and all of that. Please don't let that deter you. I have been composting for a long time, and I first started off by just assigning one small 3-foot by 3-foot square in the garden. And ours is not a very big yard. So if we can do it, anybody can do it. And I would just put all my compost in there, and it worked out beautifully. For 6-8 years we had it. And then my husband decided that we needed this fancy composter, which we've got. But you can find one on Craigslist, you can find one on Facebook Marketplace, find a composter that works for you. If not, use Mother Nature as a composter. And I know my Dodappa in Mysore, he used to compost from way back in all through 70s and 80s and 90s. We had a big pit, and we would put everything, tengin chippu, tengin gari, ella haktidde adralli.
Right. No, we actually do the second one. I have a little small spot in the backyard that I dump. And as the spring started, we have started doing it. In the harshest winter months, we don't do it. So it does retain a large volume of water, help prevent soil erosion, reduces the runoff, downstream water quality improve agate. Lot of beneficial organisms make the soil rich. So our vegetables are pesticide free basically and tasty. We can feel those vegetables are so much more tastier. For all of you who are watching today, this is Annapurna Holistic Nutrition, Shobha Ishwar talking to us about whole foods. I'm Chandrika Gopal, and moving on, what are some sustainability practices that we can adopt in our day-to-day life to help this cause?
So just like you were mentioning, the composting is one, and then reducing our use of water. Be very, very conscious when you open the tap. Don't let it run and be talking or looking somewhere or walking away. No way. That wastes a lot of water. I am very conscious when I go to somebody's house. I'm like, oh my God, look at them. They're wasting so much water. But you don't have to get really crazy about it, but be very conscious. Open the tap ever so little. Maybe you can adjust the pressure in the tap at the bottom of the sink as well, so that you get less water flowing. Even if you open the tap full throttle, you'll get lesser water. And we need very little water to wash or rinse. Use less soap as well. So when you use less soap, you use lesser water to rinse and wash it off, because especially with plant-based nutrition and our way of cooking, we don't need so much soap because our food is not greasy, and we don't have to try to get the grease out of the plates. Good one you brought up, Chandrika.
Yeah, so much so true. So much so true. We were introduced to shampoo bar by our children because we were traveling, and then I thought that was a wonderful alternative, carrying bottles and bottles of shampoo, conditioner, lotion, blah blah blah. This one shampoo bar just serves all the purpose, and it's just great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got it. You're right.
Awesome, awesome. Um, when you say holistic practices, what kind of practices help us in stress management?
Yeah, very important, very important. For physical health, like I said, for physical health, it's all about nutrition. And for overall mental health and reducing our stress, I think the best gifts that we from the Indian subcontinent, our culture, our tradition, and our dharma has taught us is this ability and the tools to de-stress is small amount of pranayama, a walk in the park with greenery, make sure you're in touch with nature every day, little bit sunlight on your body, on your skin, to get enough vitamin D as well. So these are some of the de-stressors. No matter what, you may be having a tough day with your kids, with your husband, with things at work and school and all of these things, de-stress, deep breathing. If you don't have time for pranayama or don't know how to do it, just breathe deeply. Just take 10 deep breaths in the morning before your day starts. It will be absolutely wonderful.
Awesome, awesome. When you say food for life and food as medicine, what can you say more to elaborate or explain that?
Yeah, wonderful question, because we all know, coming from our tradition, that food that has prana is what we should be consuming.
Yeah.
Very well said. We don't want to, try not to cook 1 week's worth of food. We still do that when we have,
Many-
tugs and pulls of life. And that's absolutely okay. Don't have to be so hard on yourself. But, try and eat foods that are fresh, that are, that have the life form in them, in terms of energizing our bodies. And that's a very important aspect of the foods that we eat as well. Eat raw foods,
Yeah.
more raw foods than otherwise. And if for those of us who can't eat raw food or can't chew too much, just glance them ever so lightly. Don't be deterred by it.
True.
Glance them for a couple of minutes. Greens, kale sometimes is very chewy. You don't
Very
have to,
true. That's true.
subject yourself to it. So just blanch it for a few minutes, and it makes it, or chop it really small as well.
Very
Those two things make a big difference on chewy vegetables like kale and
I
others.
was never a salad eater in this country because those big leaves of lettuce always made me feel like the cow that was behind our house, the Gange Hasu. She would eat the bale ele, chewing slowly, and that would make me so gross. But today, thanks to you and Ishwar for inspiring me and Gopal to take on this path for the last 4 years, he has not taken any medication for diabetes or high blood pressure. And it's just so relieving. It's free. It's literally stress free. Thanks to you. Thanks to you.
That's the greatest testimonial, Chandu. This
Absolutely.
is why we encourage everybody to join this movement, to join us as a community, because you will see great results in your health.
Yeah.
Such testimonials as how Gopal was consuming for 10 years, he was consuming diabetes medication,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he came off of it. His
Yeah.
cholesterol is in good shape. His
Absolutely.
strength is back. He's
Yes.
vibrant,
Yes.
active. He's lost some weight, which is just a byproduct of all of this. He didn't try to lose weight. He tried to get healthy, and the weight loss was just a, byproduct of it.
In
And
his
this is
own
what we
words,
do.
in his own words, he says he did not lose weight. He lost his doctor.
Yes, lost the doctor, not weight. Very true and very good. He lost his cardiologist,
Yes,
he's
he did.
lost his endocrinologist,
Yes,
and
he did.
same thing with my husband too. He lost his rheumatologist,
Yeah.
because we used to make annual visits to this rheumatologist and just be fearful of what was coming next,
Right.
from there.
For all of you listening here today, this is Shobha Ishwar giving us a beautiful insight to what we can eat if we take this beautiful route of whole plant-based nutrition. So, me and my husband, we were on this path for the last 4 years now. Thanks to both of you, we have felt vibrancy. We have like a lot of energy, and you'll only feel it when you do it. So go ahead, Try it, and Shobha can help you throughout. Now, what are your other programs that you have set up, and how can our Kannada Kasturi or our audience can benefit from those?
So we have a lot of programs. I do one-on-one consultation that seems to work the best for busy families and people who are really strapped for time. So I have realized that, that makes it a lot easier for them to just take out a 2-hour period and then learn about plant-based nutrition. And then we have a wonderful support group that will support you through the process of adopting this for yourself and your family. I also teach at Morehouse School of Medicine. There are free Zoom classes, so you can avail of that, where there's a doctor who talks about all these chronic lifestyle diseases week on week, and then I help with the nutrition and implementation part. And then I have a YouTube channel. I have a support group on WhatsApp and on Facebook. And I also have a website with recipes. So especially, since we're all from Karnataka, we have all the Karnataka friendly recipes that we're so, attached to and love. Even one for kodbale, we have a nice recipe for kodbale that used to be my favorite. And my mother used to make it
Absolutely.
the best.
Yeah.
Your best kodbale of all. So these are all some of the ways you can, and feel free to call me if you just want to chat, if you're already on this path and just need a few little tips. So please feel free to call me. So we want to form community, so we support each other. That is the most important part, because wherever we go, people are eating, in a fashion that we used to eat before. And so it's very heartwarming if we find people of our own kind, if we get family members and others. And the most important part why we're doing this is not to live to 200. Some people come and tell me, oh, I don't want, if I die at 75 or 60, this is okay, all these things. That's not the point. The last 10 years of people's lifestyle, doctors have found out that we are living in nursing homes, out of wheelchairs, on walkers, on canes, can't do stairs, can't climb up, can't climb down, all these kind of issues. So if you want to be active and vibrant in your retired life, you want to visit places. Now, you put your hard working money and all the hard work that you put through the years, let it take a rest, and you can go enjoy life, see the world, This is the time to do it. So you want an active body in order to for you to carry through all this. And exercise is a very important component of strength bearing exercises. That is very, very important. Whether you do small amount of weights or, core strength building and other things, or with bands and other things, you can do that even without weights. But also weight bearing yoga is a perfectly good, substitute for that. So seek after it. Seek to be better, to learn better about nutrition, health, wellness, and the environment.
And we also, a lot of people think, oh, this is a diet, I'll have to follow a diet. But whole plant-based food is not a diet, it's a way of life. And you'll eat your satisfying, you get a lot of satisfaction eating this food. And we always get the questions, how can you eat to your satisfaction? I said exactly the same thing, sambar, idli, dosas, whatever, minus out the oil, roti, goju, palyagalu, all kinds of different rice, usli. There's so much
variety.
Yeah. So
and then our kosambri. What is salad? Is nothing different than our different bele kosambri, It's just a variation on the kosambri, remember? And if you like kosambri, make that more often, make it with different vegetables, make it colorful, make it, to your, palate.
Awesome. Now, can we talk a little bit about the diabetics reversal program that you have on your site? How can our viewers get some information on
Very
that?
good question. It's good to start with prevention. We don't do enough of preventive care here through the medical community, not just in the US and India as well, and all over the world. So preventive care is most important. Before you get diabetes, you can adopt a plant-based whole foods lifestyle so that you can prevent diabetes from occurring in the first place. Dr. Rook told us last month in our presentation here at the library that by the time you are pre-diabetic, 1/3 of your beta cells of a pancreas are already damaged.
Damn it. Oh,
One
wow.
third of them.
Wow.
So, by the time you have full-blown diabetes, half the beta cells of the pancreas are damaged. So keep these things in mind. Just because it's not showing up on some test or some record doesn't mean that you don't have it. It's slowly building up, and all of us will succumb to something or the other. So it's best to lead a healthy lifestyle so that as far as possible, we can keep some of these diseases at bay. Is this 100% cure? No, there's no guarantee, and there's no 100% cure. This is a cycle of life. So we must take things as they come as well when things happen. But the best kind of active, vibrant lives you can live is through this kind of food and this kind of, exercise, or whole body exercise, like Gopal says, whole foods and then whole body exercise, right? I love those taglines. They're easy to remember and they're just thumb rules,
In a typical person's life who's a diabetic, what or how can he plan breakfast, lunch, a snack, and some decent dinner? What would you suggest for all of us, like Indians?
Yeah, for a diabetic, best thing to start off early in the morning is with a bowl of fruits, because for the most part, you've had about a 12-hour period where you've not eaten, even if you ate at 6, 7 the night before, and then you won't eat before 6, 7 the morning off. So start with a bowl of fruits and eat to your heart's content. Eat 1 banana, half a pear, half an apple, few pieces of pineapple, few pieces of mango, some berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, whatever is on sale, buy that. That's what you should be eating, because they're producing a lot of it, and that's the season for that. If grapes is on sale, that means that's the season for grapes. If blackberries are on sale, that means that's the season for blackberries. So buy all of this, make a big sumptuous bowl, make it colorful, and enjoy it as breakfast. And if you want, you can have a little bit of oats or a little bit of any kind of porridge, or even, dosa, idli, uppitu, avlaki uppitu, gojavlaki. All these things are fair game if you have the time and energy to make it for breakfast, but you can keep it simple and eat fruit in the morning. And then for lunch, just regular food. It's not that chapatis are better than rice or this is that. Whole grain as grown in nature is the best. So you can have, millets or quinoa or rice, or a combination of white rice and brown rice.
Ragi mudde, all those
Ragi
things.
mudde. And, rice also, you can combine brown rice and white rice if you think that brown rice is too chewy or too difficult.
Not
mentally.
really chewy, though people find it difficult. I've had a few friends, when they ate brown rice in my house, they didn't even realize that it was brown rice. Hey, hingaito, what's the thing? Andre, you'll have to soak it. You have to soak the brown rice to get the phytic acid thing off of the thing, and it becomes softer. So yeah, it's an extra chore. So
and sometimes if you don't have time, it's okay to wash it nicely. Correct. And then cook it. Sometimes I cook it that way, but make sure you have enough water. I use 1:2.5 or 1:2 3/4 water, and that comes out soft and nice for our saru and huli kalskolake ella chanag barutte. That comes out really good the way we like.
South Indians like our rice a little bit softer if we have to mix it.
Mix it, yeah. And also, if you're transitioning to brown rice, you can do it very slowly, Chandu. Just add handful of brown rice, all the rest white rice, and then slowly switch the ratio.
I noticed the other day at the grocery store, Indian store, there is Sona Masuri brown rice. And then there are few other brands of brown rice, which I don't remember today. And they all look pretty decent. And then the most fascinating thing I also found out when we went to Bali was to eat black rice. And I did not know. And that is one of the most rich foods, basically. Gives you a bang for your buck. And I did not know about this black rice, and I totally love it now. So go ahead and try different kinds of rice, different kinds of grains.
Exactly. And even red rice. Ishwa loves red rice, and he brought some from India, and it's just awesome. Yeah. And even chitrana and all. Mavin
Yes.
kai chitranna, all these things I make out of this kind of brown rice, red rice, and black rice. It tastes, the taste is in all the flavors, the uppu huli khara that we talk about, you know. The
Correct.
taste is, you know, rice is rice. We already know that. And then
Yeah,
the
no,
same thing I make kalsidanna with millets, with
yes.
quinoa,
Yes. What about
all
that?
these other things. I just
I'm
load
a
it
big,
with more vegetables.
I'm a big fan of cracked wheat bisibelabath, cracked wheat pongal, and
Correct.
people have enjoyed that. And I do have
Yes, yes.
friends.
I also make steel cut oats pongal
Oh,
and
ಅದು
steel cut
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ
oats
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
bisibele bath.
Yes.
People, like you said, they don't even know, because the bisibele bath is the flavor, you know, that puri
Correct.
that we put is the what has the flavor. And the same thing for dinner. One thing that Chandu and I, we have switched to is, she makes all the different kinds of yogurt at home, but I make the soy yogurt at home. You can make peanut yogurt and
Correct.
cashew yogurt as well at home, or you can buy it at the store. There are many, many options at the
No,
store.
soy
Coconut
yogurt was
yogurt.
a very big plus for us. Thank you so much for that, because it took us some time to figure out what brand, because none of the brands suited our palates. So we had to find the West Soy finally. And then I mean, people can reach out. We can definitely share. That's not an issue. And I have tried making rice and cashew yogurt. I have made just peanut. Almond yogurt success aglila, but I'm going to try at it again. But all these nut milk yogurts are very, very flavorful, and all our foods like kadhi, majige huli, all those things, they do taste very, very nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
rave idlis.
Right.
Anything that needs majge is comes out really good. And even neer majge ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. When you flavor it
Absolutely.
with a
Absolutely.
little bit of ginger and green chilies and this thing,
And
curry leaves.
just the flip side of it, you can also make wonderful lassis.
Lassi. Yes. Yes.
Tastes really great. And just
Tastes really.
going back to the dinner for a diabetic.
So
Timing.
dinner can be, you know, something similar, or, you know, now sometimes we like to eat dosa, idli, ade, ಈ ತರದ್ದು abs, gojju, athara nenchkondo, we can actually make it a, you know, a wonderful, you know, daily meal like this, you know, different poha, small things like that you can do. That's why I reserve all my tiffin items for the evening rather than my breakfast, so that I have options. If you don't feel like anything, you're like, okay, we can make, you know, gojjavlaki, or, you know, yeah, avlaki, uppittu. So that's the easy part. And uppittu also is my favorite nowadays. I put like 8 different vegetables in it, you know.
Same here.
And even I've made cracked wheat uppittu, all these things. So it has more fiber and it's more wholesome.
I've had people who have come to our house and they looked at this uppittu and they said, what is this? It's uppittu. And they're so confused because they're so used to seeing just the white uppittu with vagarne. And then we have all different vegetables. I said, who makes uppittu like this? I said, a lot of us make uppittu like this with badnekai, alugede, beans. So,
Sime badnekai. Lahaki.
Wow.
Correct.
Anyway,
absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. I even make uppittu with corn polenta. Basically corn tari adu, innenilla. You know, akki tari thara adu, it's just corn tari, like a cracked wheat, you know. Godhi tari.
All of you listening out there, if you are thinking on this route, please make use of this wonderful lecture, sharing of this information to incorporate in your lives, become vibrant and healthy. Moving on, what can you tell us about your cooking classes and other the link na amele share madonwa idralli?
Yeah. I have cooking classes on a monthly basis. I've not had one for a while, but I'll be starting up again in June. But I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch and learn also. And then feel free to ask questions either to Chandu or myself. We are always there. There are mentors in our group, in our support group. Join our support group on WhatsApp. So reach out to us. Yeah.
That was my next thing. So nam WhatsApp group na idana share madona. And anybody who's listening in today, if you feel like you want to join in, get the benefits of this beautiful thought, please madri. So a few more questions quickly. Our different style of cooking with cashew or soy-based yogurt or almond yogurt, either the benefits or changes. So I know we kind of touched on it a little bit. Innenadru helodidre helapa.
Yeah. No, I think plant-based is the way to go, because Science has proven to us that we are seeing a lot more incidents of cancers and other things based on animal-based products, including dairy products and eggs and things like that. So it's just better to avoid it, to live, disease-free lives. This is what is the best under the circumstances. Yes, in our tradition, Krishna Bhagwan may have drank lot of milk or lot of butter. It's really not lots, because remember, he used to go from house to house stealing it. If he had got lots in one house, I don't think he would have gone to another house, right?
Correct.
So benne ella ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Now, if you remember your time when your amma used to make benne at home and then tuppa at home. And tuppa ella is supposed to be made in that process, not buy Lando Lake butter and make tuppa.
Lately, this Nanak tuppa is flying off the shelves, and I was so surprised. This lady behind me had 4 bottles of Nanak tuppa, an African American. I was very surprised because I never saw someone from that
community consume ghee.
And then she said, no, this is what we eat every day. I said, oh, okay, God help you.
Coffee lo haktare kelevru.
I heard that. That's the most weirdest thing. It was, my goodness, coffee al tuppa hakod kelirlilla nanu.
I know. Nam sarannaku tuppa kotre saaku namge.
Sarige oggarne one mille anta. The mille is the tiniest spoon in our kitchen.
Exactly.
One mille tuppa antandre, it's just tiny spoon tuppa. Ashtralli
and saar annakku ashte hingond drop hakododu ashte. ಹುಳಿ ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಹಾಕೋತಾನೆ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ it has become one, it's as if it's some elixir to life. ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾರು ಆಗ್ಬಿಡತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಭಯ, ಆ ತರ.
Absolutely. The last question,
I think we're coming up on the hour also.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last question is this calcium supplements, vitamin D supplements.
Very good question.
That in view with the whole plant-based nutrition.
Right. Wonderful. Protein, calcium. We get our calcium requirements are very, very tiny and small amounts. So the little bit of amount of sesame seeds, ಎಳ್ಳು ಹಾಕ್ತಿವಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಡಿಗೆಗೆ, ಪುಡಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಚಟ್ನಿ ಪುಡಿಗೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ, that's way plenty. ಗೊಜ್ಜಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ರುಬ್ಬಾಕ್ತಿವಿ, that's absolutely. ಎಳ್ಳು ಜನವರಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಳ್ಳು ಬೀರಕ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಸಂಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಳ್ಳಿನ ಉಂಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. All that small amounts is way plenty. So also without oil you're still getting fats. Absolutely. Whole fats, as in nuts and seeds. ಎಳ್ಳಲ್ಲಿ, mustard seeds ಅಲ್ಲಿ, brown rice ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಇದೆ, corn ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಇದೆ, olives ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಇದೆ. So and all fruits and vegetables have small amount of fat. It's not enough to extract it into a bottle, but they have enough fat. Everything has fat, carbs, proteins, everything. Just like I showed you, cauliflower has protein, everything has proteins in it. Awesome. So adondu. So calcium ge you don't have to worry at all. Our needs are very low. And just think about it. In nature, ಹಸು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಯಂ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಅದೇನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಯಂ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ತಗೋತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಹಾಲ್ ಕುಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಸು ಏನ್ ತಿನ್ನತ್ತೆ? ಬರೀ ಹುಲ್ ತಿನ್ನತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹುಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಯಂ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸ್ಪಿನಿಚ್ ತಿನ್ಬಹುದು, ಕೇಲ್ ತಿನ್ಬಹುದು, ಸಬ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸೊಪ್ಪು, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮೆಂತ್ಯದ ಸೊಪ್ಪು, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸೊಪ್ಪುಗಳಿದೆ. All of them are calcium rich.
Very true. Very
ಸೊಪ್ಪು every day. That's what I would say.
Awesome.
And, everything else will be taken care of. So also protein, kalu, you already mentioned, usli and all. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up now. Yes, and if you have any questions.
Last question.
Yes.
So Ivaga, like many of us would have eaten plant-based nutrition, Ivaga start madirbodu, but this would have damaged our body, alva. So is there anything like when we switch at a later age, the reversible agata? So can heart be healthy now? Because eventually ನಾವು ಆಚೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಿಜ್ಜಾ ಗಿಜ್ಜಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಿನ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇನೆ. So now if you try to follow the plant-based nutrition path, so can the heart and our body regain back?
Very good question, Deepa. Absolutely. In our group alone, we have 78-year-old person who has reversed his diabetes. We have 60-year-old person who's reversed his diabetes, and so also heart disease reverses. The blockage in the ability for your body to heal is amazing if you provide it with the right fuel. So yes, the answer is absolute less. Any age you adopt this, you'll see a huge big change. You will see that your artery is functioning well, and you're not breathless going up the stairs, coming down the stairs. You will find out for yourself that you have a pep in your step. You will have so much more energy, all through the day, and you don't feel sluggish, right, Chandu?
Oh,
We
no,
don't feel like we
absolutely.
need to
No.
take a nap after
Kind of
eating this
energy
food.
you get from eating this kind of food is you'll have to experience it to feel it. And if you look at someone and then you feel like, oh my God, why do they look so radiant? ಅದು ಒಂದು ತೇಜಸ್ಸು ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಓಜಸ್ಸು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ ಅದು that's because you consume the right kind of foods that this beautiful machine can consume, and it will start performing the way you want it to. Yeah.
And yes to your answer, absolute yes, Deepa. There's no age, and definitely better to get children started on this the younger they are, to instill it into their mind that we shouldn't be eating processed food, more whole foods as grown in nature, Bhagavan made and not man made. These small things, if we instill in the children, it'll help a lot. Yes,
Anybody
absolutely.
from the youngest
Any
age, pregnant women,
Mhm.
adults,
Babies.
babies,
Yes.
anybody can, get into this wonderful path and then find their health in the absolute, bliss, basically. Thank you so much, Kannada Kasturi committee members, for arranging this. Thank you, Shobha. Hey, Deepa, please take over.
Thank you, Shobha. And I think Ivettu probably we learned a lot. And yeah, I'll be the first one to switch. Ingle madidini, but like, yeah, more into it in my future journey. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Deepa, for this. And feel free to reach out to us if you have. You can put that in your show notes. We'll send it to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Namaskara. Thanks, Chandu. Take care. All the best.
For all of you listening today, thank you so much for tuning in. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Sarvam Sanmangalani Bhavantu. Take care.
Wonderful. Thanks, Chandu, for that.